From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
I want to do a job.
Good morning. Board to reconvene. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Gleason.
Here.
Supervisor Scrivener.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here.
Next item is the flag salute. It's going to be led today by Danny Rueda, U.S. Army veteran. He served from 1983 to 1986. Mr. Rueda, welcome. And I'm sorry, please remain standing at the conclusion of that for a moment of prayer, silence, and meditation, whichever you prefer.
Stand, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The next item is the consent agenda. All items listed with a CA above the item number are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. We can act on those all in one motion unless any member of the public or any board member chooses to pull any of those items for separate discussion or consideration. The consent agenda starts on page 2. It consists of items 5, 7, and 8. Continues to page 2, items 2, 5, 7, and 8. Page 3, items 9 through 15, all the items. Page 4, items 16 through 22, all the items. Page 5, items 23 through 26. Is there anyone here that would like to pull any of those items for separate consideration? Any members of the board? Just need a motion on consent then.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. That takes us back to item 1 under the resolutions and proclamations portion of the meeting. This is a resolution honoring Teresa Yanez from the Probation Department upon her retirement with 28 years of dedicated service to the County of Kern, and Supervisor Maggard will be making this presentation.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved. All ayes.
Morning, colleagues. We have an opportunity this morning to recognize one of our outstanding employees who is retiring after 28 years of service. And it's my pleasure to be able to present this morning. This is a resolution that we have honoring Teresa Yanez. Come on up, Teresa. Now we'll have your folks you work with talking in a minute. Teresa is retiring after 28 years of service with the County of Kern. So she started when she was 11 years old. Pretty good, huh? Yeah. Appreciate you starting young like that. She has a great career, and I want to read, when I first started doing this, I wouldn't always read the whole thing to people because it's kind of long, but I've realized after I didn't do that once that it's important because it recognizes all the things that have happened in all the years of service you've had to the county, so I always read them after that. So I'm going to read this for everybody to be able to hear. This is a resolution honoring and commending Teresa Yanez upon her retirement with 28 years of dedicated service to Kern County. And there are several things that we're going to say the way government speaks. It says whereas, and we're going to explain a couple of things that you've done here. Whereas Teresa Yanez began her career with the Kern County Probation Department on March 16, 1987, when she was 11 years old, as an extra help group counselor at Juvenile Hall, a position known as the Juvenile Corrections Officer. She was permanently hired into the Probation Department on October 10, 1988, and later appointed to the Deputy Probation Officer position on August 26, 1989. And during the initial years of her career, Ms. Yanez worked as an adult investigations officer assigned to complete felony pre-sentence reports for Superior Court, and later she became an armed juvenile supervision officer and supervised high-risk offenders and gang members. I bet you have some stories you could tell from your days in that time. She was considered a gang expert and was involved in numerous law enforcement sweeps and special assignments. On July 19, 1997, she was promoted to Deputy Probation Officer 3 and then advanced to Probation Supervisor on April 20, 2002. Due to her high level of competency in the field as an field officer and safety and court investigations, she became a well-respected trainer and mentor for new officers. And throughout her career, Ms. Yanez was recognized for her ability to connect and build strong relationships with probationers and their families, encouraging them to be successful and productive. And on December 24, 2005, she was promoted to Assistant Probation Division Director, where she excelled in managing 2 different juvenile detention facilities, Juvenile Hall and the Kern Crossroads facility, until her retirement now. Ms. Yanez's dedication to her profession and commitment to serving the public has earned her the respect and admiration of both her peers and her colleagues. That's not something that's thrown around loosely. They truly do respect you. Her many contributions to the probation department will be greatly missed, and she is wished the very best in her future endeavors. Now, therefore, it is resolved that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern of the State of California does hereby honor and commend Teresa L. Yanez upon her retirement with 28 years of dedicated service to Kern County, adopted this the 27th day of October 2015, signed by all the members of the board. This is the nicest commendation we had. We have some paper ones we give to other people, but you are getting the very nicest one we have.
Well, thank you.
We are grateful for what you've done.
I'm glad it was in the budget.
It was in the budget, yeah. We got it covered for you. I think your co-workers want to say a couple things, and then I'll say a couple more words before we're done, and then we'll let you say something if you like, okay? So Tia, you want to go first? Yeah. Oh, by the way, there you go. You get that. Keep that.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome.
Thank you, Supervisor, members of the board. Just say a few things, and I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Chief Kathy Lemon, who's Teresa's longtime co-worker and good friend. When I first started, I came over as an extra help DPO in 1997, and Teresa Yanez was in that unit. And I remember that, and since then we've had several times where we've our paths have crossed. I've seen her in action. I've seen her in some very difficult situations, and I've always been incredibly impressed of how she's maintained herself and the leadership that she's shown. And she's helped a lot of people in her career. And we're going to miss you, Teresa, and thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Kathy Lemon, Deputy Chief with the Probation Department, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to recognize Teresa Yanez and her 28 years of service with the county, and specifically the Kern County Probation Department. Thank you. She's still taking care of me. How's my hair look? All right.
Very nice, very nice.
As I said, I'm very honored to be here to speak on behalf of the department for Teresa, because we met each other over 25 years ago at Juvenile Hall, and we're still talking to each other, so it's quite a bond we've created over the years. As the resolution indicated, Teresa's worked in many, many different assignments, and that's one of the beautiful things about the probation department, is because you can do so many different things in your career. Being a probation officer or a juvenile corrections officer is a very challenging task. It can be very stressful. You're dealing with the lives of people in the community, their freedom, their liberties, their futures. And that creates a bond within the staff that is really unbreakable. And those are the things that I'm going to miss about Teresa, because we have a long history together, and we went through some really great times and some real challenging times. And for that, I'm going to miss her for that. At the probation department, we talk about having a balance, not only in just the services we provide, but how we work as officers in the community and even at home. And Teresa is an example of that. She has a beautiful family and friends, and a wonderful group of faith-based friends, and she has a great balance. She has been one of the best field officers, and I'm not going to say female field officer, but she's been quite a role model for many of the female staff out there. They've learned from her. She has, over the years, taught people how to enter someone's home, be respectful, get them to pay attention, take her seriously. She cares about them and their future. Sometimes she cared enough to arrest them, and sometimes she just cared enough to pat them on the back. I don't want to go really long, but this is our opportunity, and I'm going to probably see her the next 20 years of my life, so I want to knock this one out. I pulled her file, and I was looking over out some of the stuff that was said about her, and I could read and go over those things, but I found some letters in her file from people in the community, from family members, and I think it speaks volumes because I didn't write it, Tara didn't write it, her supervisors didn't write it. It's from people in the community that she worked with. And just bear with me, they're kind of short. Since my son came home in June, Mrs. Teresa Yanez has offered new hope for all of us. She has really been working hard, and it shows. Now my son has a job and is enrolled in community school. His attitude is better, and he's starting to take care of himself. It is so refreshing to see him doing homework and staying out of trouble. We wanted to let someone know how valuable she is and how much we appreciate her. Another letter. I would like to take a moment of your time to tell you how much Mrs. Yanez had made a big difference in my life with my son. I could never understand my son's behavior and all the trouble he has gotten himself into. She has put a lot of time and effort into helping my son break through his pain and for me to see where he's coming from. Now I realize how much my son needs my attention. Before I found out about my son's pain and suffering he was going through, all I wanted to do was see him out of my life. I was just waiting for him to turn 18 so I could not have to deal with him anymore. I thank Mrs. Yanez because now I can understand why his behavior is the way it is. My son and I still have a lot of healing to go through, and I feel I owe it all to Mrs. Yanez. I feel if she were there for my son, I feel she will be there for my son and I. She has my utmost respect. And just one more, please. Well, this was a letter too directly to Teresa. Well, we just wanted to extend our sincere thanks to you as a family. Who knows what your Christmas would have been like if you didn't dedicate so much of your time and have so much concern for the situation. We never could have made it without your help. And I know that my son probably doesn't realize it now, but along with your help, we all probably saved his life. Now what he does with it is up to him. I can't even imagine how difficult your job must be, but if you even save one boy's life, then I feel you have accomplished what you have set out to do. I can only pray that that one life is my son's. With those, I think that sums up the impact that Teresa's had. Her work ethic, what she stands for, and how she's impacted members of the community. She has high standards for herself and for others. And she's not afraid to speak her mind. And sometimes her sense of humor, we're trying to figure out if she was serious or not, but it's very direct. Anyway, she's been a true professional, a great mentor, a role model for others, a fabulous friend, mom, daughter, everything you can imagine. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you. There were about 50 more of those letters, but we didn't have time for that. Just saying. Yeah, just saying. Actually, those were really touching because it's nice to have an impact on people's lives. Good morning, Chairman Couch and the members of the board. I am truly honored and blessed to be the recipient of this proclamation. Working for the Kern County Probation Department has been rewarding in so many ways. I had the privilege to work in all of the department's divisions, which provided me with a well-rounded career. The impact the Kern County Probation Department has made within the community has definitely made for a safer county, and I am proud to have been part of this team. I will always cherish my relationships with my probation family and the opportunities the department afforded me. I am overwhelmed by the presence and support of family, friends, and coworkers. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for supporting me in this moment. And I'm eternally grateful for my position as a probation officer. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, happy for you. Would you like to introduce your family?
Sure, I would. Let's start with my mother, Virginia Permenter, my Papa Ned Permenter, my daughters, Kendall, Courtney, and my wonderful husband that has supported me through all my endeavors in probation. And one of my daughters, Katie, couldn't be here today, but I'm sure she's watching this in Oregon. She's a student at University of Oregon, so she couldn't be here today. And then I also have my church family, my wonderful probation family, and my other kids. We have a Bible study called Identity, and I host it, and my husband teaches, and some of those young adults are in this crowd today. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate your support.
I want to say one more thing, just because I know something about her family, Teresa's family, and the love that permeates this family, the wit that they have, the bond that they have. I know that Papa Ned speaks very proudly and lovingly about your daughters. I know that permeates your family, and I'm happy for you about that. I just respect your family. Ned Permenter was my football coach. And just yesterday, I was conveying a lesson in life that Ned taught me when I was a kid, a young guy, and to somebody about how to win gracefully and how to lose gracefully and how to persevere. And after my dad, probably, Ned Permenter is probably the guy that's shaped my life the most with lessons that I still know to this day. But I have one thing to tell you, Ned. Apparently, I learned this morning that Ned used to work for the probation department as well for 1 year. And I wanted you to know that T.R. Miracle here is the guy that runs our probation department for us, and he is still looking for the little board, you know, that you used to make all your notes on, and a box of cough drops that apparently you walked out with, and you can pay him back for those whenever you're ready, okay? Congratulations. We admire you and the great career that you've had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. It's good to see Papa Ned, by the way. How you doing? That takes us to item 3, which is public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter that is not on the agenda but is under the jurisdiction of the board. Is there anyone here that would like to make a public presentation? If you're having a hard time getting down here, we'll wait for just a moment.
Well, good morning, Mr. Chairman of the board and fellow board members. My name is Joelle Scales, and I am the chair of the Kern County Human Relations Commission. And the reason that my fellow commissioners and I are standing before you this morning is that we are here to invite you to a community forum that will be hosted on October 29th. That's a Thursday at 5:30 p.m. on the third floor conference room of this building, the County Administrative Building, about understanding your political power. And the goal of this event is just to have a type of fireside chat with the community about understanding their importance in the participation of the political process. So we just wanted to come and invite you out to that event. And we're really excited about the work that the commission is doing this year in the community in terms of engaging with the community and getting them involved in things that really matter in life and that will help make their life better. So that's what we're here to do. Thank you.
And we've received your invitation.
Yes, and we're very blessed that we've had a majority of your chief of staffs that will be participating on our panel. We also have Kathy Abernathy and Jean Tackett that have agreed to participate, and Mrs. Camila Chavez from the Dolores Huerta Foundation. So we are very excited. We look forward to a great event. We would be remiss if we didn't thank Supervisor Scribner for attending our Prop 47 event. Thank you so much for your participation and your time in that. So.
Your event is Thursday, October 29th at 5:30 p.m.
In this building, yes.
on the third floor conference room.
Third floor conference room.
Thank you very much.
So we look forward to seeing you.
You bet. Any other public presentations? Seeing none, item 4 is board member announcements and reports.
I have something, Dave.
Yes, Supervisor Perez.
Thank you, Chairman. This Thursday, same day as the forum that's in the evening, we will have in these chambers from 9 to 12 our round 2 on workforce issues, housing, transportation, skills gap. We have launched last October with really, really critical key members of this community, including Mike Turnipseed of the Taxpayers Association, educators, private sector folks, our trainers. It will be led, of course, by Teresa Hitchcock, who has taken the reins at ETR, and we are really, really making remarkable progress in exploring the issues that face and impact our workforce, how we best stabilize the workforce, and in so doing, improve and diversify our economy. So last Thursday, Realtors put on a phenomenal half-day event where we explored and talked very openly and had some difficult discussions around how we improve the condition of housing for our workforce. And so great stuff. We're really making excellent progress. This is round 2. Round 1 was last October. Where are we? Round 2, which is tomorrow, where do we want to be? Following that will be round 3, how do we get there? And round 4 will be accountability and implementation measures. So I am very, very excited. It has been hosted, of course, by Ken Weir of the City Council and myself, and of course with Teresa at the helm. So please, please come out 9 to 12. Here, of course, it's free. Excellent presentations by our educators, implementation of vocational back in some of our high school campuses, some new experiments that we're trying at different campuses in the rural parts of this county. So very, very excited to incorporate the public, get your feedback, and continue to improve this process. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Seeing no other announcements or reports, that takes us to item 6 under the Auditor Controller County Clerk. This is an audit report of compliance and internal controls of Kern Medical Center's capital assets for fiscal years ended June 30th, 2015 and 2014, and the department's response. Good morning, Ms. Bedard.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. The audit before you this morning is a limited scope compliance audit of KMC's capital assets for 2014 and 15. This audit carries a modified opinion. While it contains no material weaknesses, 3 significant deficiencies were identified. The previous audit contained 6 findings, 3 of which are repeat findings in the current audit. We are asking that you receive and file this report. That concludes my report, and I am available to answer any questions you may have.
Would either Mr. Cantu or Mr. Thigerson, do you have any response, or do you want me to just open it up to the public? Okay.
I'll be brief. We agree with all the recommendations that they've put forward from the auditor's office. We understand the importance. We're developing a plan right now. Our plan is basically it's a long process to take a physical count of the entire hospital by department. We have to have a methodical process, and in order to, by department, we need some education of the department managers, directors, but we also need, subsequent to that, we also need to have our finance staff that are going to go out and do some, they will do on a monthly basis inventories. So once you get through every single department, it's probably it's going to take quite a while, it'll be time to start the process all over again. So we agree with the findings. I believe we have some old findings too. I just understand, so those findings will also be put on our list and be resolved. So.
Thank you. Is there anyone here that would like to comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll just return it to the board for questions, comments, or action. The requested action is to receive and file. Supervisor Maggard?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will make a motion to receive and file, just so we have that out of the way. But I would like our county compliance officer, Karina Balbuena, to speak to us for just a moment. There are some repeat findings in the report that I want to make sure we've addressed, because it's our duty to make sure that departments comply with our policies and procedures. KMC has gratefully, and as a result of a great deal of hard work by many talented people, one of which was at the mic this morning here, Mr. Cantu, but many other people as well, KMC is turning the corner and being financially sound again, which serves well all the people that live in Kern County. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't comply with these mandates and our policies. So, Ms. Balbuena, could you give us just a brief update on those areas where the hospital needs to improve and what our plan is as to how to hold them accountable for doing that?
Yes, Supervisor Maggard through the chair. The department will have 45 days from today, which will be December 11, 2015, to provide me with a formal corrective action plan to mitigate the reoccurrence of the 3 audit findings noted. The corrective action plan will include a comprehensive approach, including identifying the solutions, ensuring procedures are documented to improve the internal controls, and evidence that it is monitored and followed. An update of the corrective action will be submitted to your board on the semi-annual compliance and accountability report for the period ending December 31st, 2015. There is concern that KMC still has outstanding unresolved corrective actions needed in other areas of their operation. Although it is my responsibility to monitor and report to your board, it is ultimately KMC's management's responsibilities to actively pursue the resolution and to continue monitoring their success. This is a commitment of KMC's management, and I look forward to working with them to assist in any way that I can. There's been initial dialogue with KMC management, specifically Andy Cantu, and we are all on the same page, and we're going to work very actively to come back to your board by December 31st and have these issues resolved.
Mr. Cantu, you on board with all that? There was an affirmative head nod. Thank you very much. Ms. Balbuena, thank you. We'll look forward to reporting back to us in December.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Second. You have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
Excuse me, the motion is approved, all ayes.
Thank you. That takes us over to a non-agenda item. And this is a little lengthy, but I need to read this into the record and ask for a motion. This would be item 11A. We're going to need a motion to consider a non-agenda item number 11A, making a finding that the need to take action on a non-agenda matter occurred after the agenda was posted because the County of Kern had been impacted by severe weather conditions that began on the afternoon of October 14, 2015, causing extensive infrastructure damage and requiring extraordinary public safety response. Flash flood, and debris mud flowing several feet deep occurred on Interstate 5 at the Grapevine and on Highway 58 in the Tehachapi Pass on October 15th, which stranded a large number of travelers who were evacuated and transported to shelters in Tehachapi and Mojave. The energy proclamation was signed by the County Administrative Officer on Saturday, October 24th, 2015 at 7:27 p.m. due to the weather events and recent response cost estimates. In accordance with Government Code Section 8630 and Chapter 2.66 of the Kern County Ordinance Code, the County Administrative Officer, in consultation with the Fire Chief, the Director of Emergency Services, and County Council, determined the conditions observed met the criteria for a proclamation of local emergency. The Board of Supervisors is required to ratify the proclamation within 7 days. So I just ask for a motion that I mentioned at the very beginning of all that.
So moved.
And second.
Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved, all ayes.
Thank you. Item 11A is a request for resolution ratifying a proclamation that a severe weather event and state of emergency exists within the County of Kern and authorize the submittal of a request for a gubernatorial proclamation. Chief.
Chairman Couch, members of the board, I'm joined this morning with our Emergency Services Manager, Georgiana Armstrong. As you said, this is a request to ratify a proclamation of a local emergency. On October 14th and remaining throughout the October 15th, the National Weather Service issued several flash flood warnings, significant weather advisories, severe thunderstorm warnings, and unfortunately, they all came true. We received several flood events throughout the county. On October 15th in the afternoon, flash flood and debris mud flow occurred on Interstate 5. That trapped several hundred people on the roadway, causing rescue efforts to be initiated by the fire department, sheriff's department, CHP. Fortunately, we were able to remove all stranded motorists and get them to safety. Later in the evening, our most significant events occurred, including 3 slope failures on Highway 58. Oak Creek Road, also fire units were actively engaged in rescue operations. Highway 14, Highway 58 were closed, and on Highway 58, over 115 vehicles were trapped, some up to their windows with mud flows. Approximately 300 people needed to be rescued by the fire department, sheriff's department, Caltrans, CHP. These people also had to be sheltered, and we set up sheltering operations in Mojave and Tehachapi. These sheltering operations were ran by the Human Services Department and the Kern and LA County chapters of the American Red Cross. Additionally, public health nurses were on site to provide medical support, and we had language interpreters to help provide response. We filled sandbags, especially the sheriff's department. They were actively filling sandbags and moving them around the county. We did receive a significant flood event in the community of Lamont, which damaged several roads. We activated our Emergency Operations Center. It was activated to a level 2 status, and we had agencies from Emergency Services, Sheriff's Department, Human Services, General Services, California Highway Patrol, and the Fire Department on site providing support to our first responders who were out on the front lines. We also set up a joint information center to get the information out to the media and the public. That was very successful. Initial damage estimates to county roads is over $700,000. We continue to compile cost estimates. As you can imagine, your first responders, the roads department, several county departments were operating 24 hours a day, which resulted in significant overtime costs to respond to this event. This is on top of over $3 million in costs that were incurred with the July 2015 storm event. This continues to impact county fiscal reserves as these emergencies continue. And I've got to believe this is not the last time we're going to be in front of your board with predictions of the significant El Nino event. This could happen over and over again. As stated, since your board was not in session, the county administrative officer, county council, and myself worked on the proclamation, and it was signed by the CAO on October 24th at 7:27 p.m. The next step in this disaster declaration process is that your board review and confirm the actions taken by the county administrative officer. Therefore, it is recommended that your board adopt a resolution ratifying the local emergency proclamation signed by the county administrative officer on October 24th, 2015, and authorize county staff to submit a request for a gubernatorial proclamation for assistance under the California Disaster Assistance Act. That concludes my presentation, and county staff is available to answer any questions your board may have.
Thank you, Chief. Is there anyone here that would like to comment on this report and recommended action? Seeing none, I'll return it to the board. Supervisor Scribner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Most of the damage that the chief described happened in District 2. First of all, I want to thank Chief Marshal, you and your staff for everything that they did to help my constituents and also the travelers that were going through the Highway 58 corridor. Supervisor Couch and I, we share the I-5 corridor that was impacted as well. Ms. Armstrong, thank you for all of your efforts to bring this forward to us. The impact to folks was tremendously significant. I had neighbors and friends that were actually in the mudslide event, with their kids in the car, and it was something that was extremely traumatic. And fortunately, we didn't have injuries, but we certainly had a lot of damage done. So I know that we're going to hear a report from staff in the next couple of weeks on preparations that we have been working on for the El Nino that is predicted. And I think that, as you said, this is probably a precursor to other events ahead. I think you're going to have a busy winter, Chief. And appreciate you and also our Roads Commissioner, Craig Pope, and all of his staff and everybody who's working together. So I will make a motion to approve and adopt the resolution.
Certainly. Supervisor Perez.
Very happy to make a second, and Chief, I really want to extend a personal thank you to firefighters from your department and, of course, the city of Bakersfield, who recently responded to a fire at my home that certainly could have destroyed my home. I think the very swift actions by the city and county not only saved the foundation of my home, but also protected much of my clothing, some of which I'm wearing today, that we were able to get the smoke damage out of, shockingly. But really, the level of professionalism, precision, and courage from your gentlemen and ladies is just phenomenal. I've just never seen anything like it. So it doesn't surprise me that in Tehachapi, the actions were swift, they were professional, they were courageous, and just remarkable. So a personal thank you from me and my family to you and your incredible team. I've come to learn that our firefighters here in Kern, and that includes the city, are the best in the state, with rigorous standards and with exceptional reputations. A member of the media told me in Kern County, when they come to the site, they can never, ever get to film any flames because you guys are just too quick, that in their entirety of covering fires, they can't even see the flames. So, I think they'd like to see a few, is my sense. But I think they're going to have to switch counties in order to do so. Thank you.
You have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. If I didn't ask for public comment, thought I did, but if I didn't, is there any? Okay. Please cast your votes.
Thank you. The vote is all ayes.
Thank you, Chief. Great job. That brings us to the end of the morning session. I just need a motion to adjourn to closed session.
So moved.
Without objection, we are adjourned. Thank you.